This is Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. Now from the Collins Aerospace Studio at the Nordloff Center in downtown Rockford, here's your host, Eric Wilson.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. We are so happy that you are here, our second game of 2022. We had a very exciting game to kick off the new year. You may have seen that. The Guilford Vikings nearly ran a lightning round and got within striking distance of Keith. And then Keith kind of pulled away there in that final challenge, but it certainly made for an exciting game. That means Keith is moving on to face one of these two teams in the next round. Let's say hello first to Rockford Lutheran. Big round of applause for the Crusaders. They have participated in our tournament since day one. 3 times they've made it to the Elite Eight. I'm sure Captain George hopes a repeat, maybe even farther this time around. George, introduce us to your starting lineup.
Hi, I'm George. To my far left, we have Kaylin. To my far left, we have Kaylin. To my left, we have Kaylee. And to my right, we have Isabel.
All right, George, just to be clear, the questions will get harder from here on out.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know. But I'm pretty sure no questions about canoes, just so you know. Good luck to Rockford Lutheran. Sorry, George, I couldn't resist. Welcome to the Dakota Indians. How about a round of applause for them? And extra applause because Dakota has also participated in our tournament from year one. We're excited that they're back. Looking to advance to the second round, though, for the first time since season 4. That would be sweet, right, Ethan?
Yeah.
Introduce us to who you brought with you.
I'm Ethan. To my near left is Allison. Next to her is Lauren, and next to her is Audrey.
All right, nice job, captains. Again, it will get tougher after this, I promise. Good luck, Dakota. Good luck, Lutheran. Hands on your buzzers. Let's get into our buzz-in round. The 2 most important rules for any buzz-in: wait for me to call your name before you answer, and say that answer loudly and clearly. Here we go. First question of the week. What social media service, funded by Rebecca Mercer, had its web hosting services canceled in January 2021 and has a largely far-right user base? We start off with kind of a tough current events question. That's Parler. Let's get a new question. What novel that contrasts Williamson Prep with the Garden Heights neighborhood is by Angie Thomas and portrays Starr's reaction to a police shooting? Kaylee.
The Hate U Give?
That's right. You got it. The movie stars Amanda Stenberg, who's also been in Hunger Games and Dear Evan Hansen. And Lutheran is the first points of the game. In a tragedy written by Aeschylus, Polynices is part of a title group of how many warriors who battle against Thebes? Ethan.
300.
Incorrect. Lutheran, you could get these 10. Go ahead, George.
500.
Incorrect. A little bit less than both of those. 7. 7 against Thebes is the name of that tragedy. What film in which Larry the cameraman and Rita are co-workers of the protagonist stars Bill Murray as a man who... Ethan.
Groundhog Day.
That's right. He repeatedly relives February 2nd. Actually, some of that movie shot not too far from here in Woodstock, Illinois. Those are Dakota's first points. What instrument whose invention is credited to Bartolomeo Cristofori is named after the range of volumes it can produce and has a baby grand type? Ethan.
Piano.
That's right. Piano, actually short for pianoforte. That last clue probably helped. Dakota's got 10 more. What city, whose Port Vell is at a terminus of its La Rambla thoroughfare, is the capital of Catalonia and the second most populous city in George?
Madrid.
Incorrect. I'll finish for Dakota. In Spain. Ethan.
Barcelona.
That's right. Madrid is the #1 most populous. Barcelona is #2. Dakota's got 10 more points. That's 3 in a row. 4 generations of the Sulzberger family have led what American newspaper that uses the slogan, "All the news that's fit to print"? George.
The New York Times.
Yes. Probably worth a guess there. New York Times, that's 10 points. You're up to 20 now, Lutheran. What character cries, "Will these hands ne'er be clean?" and out? George.
Macbeth.
Incorrect. I will finish for Dakota. Out damned Spot while sleepwalking after convincing her husband to kill Ethan.
Lady Macbeth.
That is correct, to kill King Duncan. We're in a theater. We probably should be calling this the Scottish play and not saying that word out loud, but Lady Macbeth is correct, and we needed that specifically because of the 2 distinctions in the characters, George. That's Dakota's 10 points. In the 1860s and 70s, violence occurred in Australia's Lambing Flat and Palmer River goldfields between white miners and those of what ethnicity? Ethan.
The Bush people?
Incorrect. Lutheran. Go ahead, George.
Aborigine.
Incorrect. Those are legitimate guesses, but it was the Chinese. Those incidents were roughly a decade apart. That's what those protests were. And here is a new question. What program, largely replaced by the Mutual Security Act, was named for Harry Truman's Secretary of State and gave aid to Europe after World War II? Named for George C. Marshall, that was the Marshall Plan. The title character of the children's book, The Little Prince, once lived with a vain rose on what type of celestial object that was designated B612? George.
Planet.
Incorrect. Dakota, these could be your 10 points. Ethan.
A moon?
Incorrect. Asteroid. That was the heavenly body. A whole belt of those, obviously, around Mars. No points for either team, and that's how we end the round. It's close. Dakota has 40. Lutheran has 20. We're out of time for this one, but there are 3 more rounds to play. Volleyball is next, and we'll have it for you in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us. Just as we would expect with 2 solid teams here, we have a very close game. Dakota's on top by just 2 questions, 40-20 over Lutheran. Before we get to the volleyball round, though, a very special thank you. We are lucky, very lucky to have Brad Fisher here with us. He is the head editor of the IHSA Scholastic Bowl State Series. He is a longtime State Line Quiz Bowl supporter, and he is here today as our judge. Brad, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. All right, let's move on to our volleyball round. Contestants, it's a conferring round, so you can work as a team. I have to hear these answers, though, from the captains. And because of the flip, Dakota will get the first volleyball question. Ethan, are you and the team ready? Here comes. What woman who has an illegitimate daughter named Pearl is forced to wear a red letter A as a punishment for adultery in the Scarlet Letter? Don't tell my high school English teacher, but I have yet to read this book that I was assigned when I was a senior. Hester Prynne is her name. We're over to Lutheran now for your first question of the round, George. Due to extreme droughts, what reservoir formed by the Hoover Dam reached historically low water levels in 2021?
Lake Mead.
Yes, you got that. And if you've ever been there, it's pretty obvious that that water level is way lower than it used to be. Lutheran, you get the first points of the round. Back to Dakota. What country, once led by Ahmed Ben Bella, signed the Evian Accords and is a North African country which gained independence from France in 1962?
Libya?
Incorrect. It's sandwiched between Libya, Tunisia, and Morocco. Algeria is what we needed. Back over to Lutheran. You could tie it with this one. What device whose simple type has a period independent of the mass of the bob is an oscillator consisting of a weight swinging from a pivot?
Pendulum.
That's correct. Relatively easy physics question. You got that, Lutheran, and you have tied the game. Back over to Dakota. One of the 3 jewels of Buddhism is what concept, which in Hinduism refers to the proper way of living and is often symbolized by a wheel?
Morals?
Incorrect. Dharma. Back over to Lutheran. What politician who defeated Loretta Sanchez in a 2016 Senate election once served as a prosecutor in California and is the current vice president?
Kamala Harris.
That's correct. That last clue probably helped quite a bit there. Kamala Harris. Lutheran, now you are in the lead by 10. Back to Dakota. You could tie it with this. What was the preferred weapon of the twins Apollo and Artemis?
Bow and arrow?
That's correct, and we're back to a tie game, Dakota. Slide back over to Lutheran for a new question now. What economist used a pin factory to illustrate the division of labor in a 1776 book that attacks mercantilism titled The Wealth of Nations?
Adam Smith.
Yes, you knew that before I even finished the question. Lutheran's got 10 more. We're back to Dakota, back and forth now. Checkpoint Charlie was part of what structure that Walter Ulbricht ordered built in 1961 to stop the brain drain from his country? His country was East Germany, and we were referring to the Berlin Wall. That was that structure where Checkpoint Charlie was, and we're out of time for the round. Rockford Lutheran is now in the lead by 10 points. It's 60-50, halfway through our game. All of our contestants know the lightning round will change scores very, very quickly, and that is the next round that we've got coming. But first, before that, you get to play at home with the Bergstrom bonus question. Stay here for the answer.
Born and raised in Tupelo, Mississippi, to parents Vernon and Gladys, Elvis Presley is buried at his Graceland home in which Tennessee city?
10-point game right now. Lutheran's on top 60-50 over Dakota. This next question is not worth points, so the score won't change, but your bellies might be full because we've got pizza and pasta on the line right now from Lino's of Rockford. If you know the answer to this Bergstrom bonus question, if you're watching at home, you already have seen the question. Here comes the question for you, contestants. Hands on your buzzers. Born and raised in Tupelo, Mississippi, to parents Vernon and Gladys, Elvis Presley is buried at his Graceland home in which Tennessee? Ethan.
Memphis.
That is correct. That is a Tennessee city. That loud sound you hear is my wife screaming Memphis at the screen because this is now 100% going to be my wife's favorite Bergstrom bonus question. Fun fact, Elvis was born this week in 1935, January 8th, still ranks third among artists all time with 18 Billboard Hot 100 #1 hits. King of rock and roll. All right, we'll be back with our Nika IBEW lightning round. A lot of points on the line. And that is coming up in just about 2 minutes. We'll see you then. Back for round 3 here in this weekend's Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. That's the Nika IBEW Lightning Round. We had a lead change after our last round, after volleyball. So Lutheran is now in the lead by 10 points. Ethan, though, is still pretty excited about his victory in the Bergstrom bonus question. All excited about that Lino's Pizza. Who wouldn't be, right? The bonus question victory. Our Nika IBEW Lightning Round begins with 3 categories. And because of the flip, George, you get to pick first between these 3 this week. Here are your categories. British monarchs, national monuments, or chess?
Can we have chess, please?
Of course you can, especially because you asked so politely. You could have had it either way, but I like the politeness. And it sounded like during the discussion, it was a pretty equal choice between all those 3. You're going with chess. We'll see if it pays off. Quite possibly this category could get run if you've got some chess experts on your team. You'll have 60 seconds to go through these 10 questions, and then Ethan, you and the team will have 30 seconds to get to what they don't. Advice for both teams, you can pass, because remember the clock is running. George, are you ready for your first one? Give these terms from chess. I'll describe it. You will give the answer to the definition. Give these terms from chess. Here's your first one. Piece that can only move diagonally.
Bishop.
Correct. Position in which a player's king is in check and cannot escape.
Checkmate.
Correct. Situation in which a player who is not in check cannot legally move.
Stalemate.
Correct. Color traditionally given the first move.
White.
Correct. Move to protect the king, which can be done kingside or queenside. Say that again.
Pass.
Converting a pawn in the last row to another piece.
Pass.
Move in which a piece attacks 2 pieces simultaneously.
Pass.
Rating system named for its Hungarian inventor.
Pass.
Variant faster than rapid chess but slower than bullet chess.
Pass.
Special pawn move with a French.
En passant.
Correct. Move to protect the king, which can be done kingside or queenside.
Castle.
Correct. Converting a pawn in the last row to another piece.
Exchange.
Incorrect. Move in which a piece, and that's the time. We didn't get back to all of those that you passed. It was a good strategy, though, right? If you're not sure, you move on. So you added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to your total. If I'm doing my math correctly, you're up to 120. That means there's 4 left on the board, Ethan, for you and the team, and I will read them as quickly as I can for you. Are you ready for the first one? You've only got 30 seconds for these. Here comes your first one. Converting a pawn in the last row to another piece.
Kinging.
Incorrect. Move in which a piece attacks two pieces simultaneously.
Steward.
Incorrect. Rating system named for its Hungarian inventor.
Pass.
Variant faster than rapid chess but slower than bullet chess.
Pass.
Rating system, that's the time, that's the 30 seconds. Those last four are really, really hard. We'll go to the first one. Converting a pawn in that last row to another piece is called pawn promotion. That's actually a pretty powerful strategy if you get to that point. The move in which a piece attacks two pieces simultaneously is called a fork. The rating system named for Arpad Elo is called the Elo rating system. And actually, Arpad Elo taught physics not too far from here at Marquette. And the last one, variant faster than rapid chess, slower than bullet chess, is blitz chess. So after our first lightning category, Rockford Lutheran expanded its lead. The Crusaders are now at 120. But Ethan, you have the choice of the two categories that are left, which are British monarchs and national monuments.
National monuments, please.
All right, you got it. In which U.S. state are these national monuments found? I'll name the monument, you name the state, 60 seconds to run the category, and then George, you will have 30 seconds to whatever they get wrong or pass on or don't make it to. The clock will start when I give you this first one. Ethan, are you and the team ready?
Yep.
In which U.S. state are these national monuments found? Devil's Tower.
Wyoming.
Correct. Sunset Crater and Sonoran Desert.
California.
Incorrect. Castle Clinton, which is in Battery Park.
Pass.
Giant Sequoia.
California.
Correct. Medgar and Murley Evers' home.
Pass.
Craters of the Moon, which is in the Snake River Plain.
Idaho.
Correct. Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad.
Pass.
Jewel Cave, which is in the Black Hills.
South Dakota.
Correct. Little Bighorn Battlefield.
Montana.
Correct. Admiralty Island.
Virginia.
Incorrect. Castle Clinton, which is in Battery Park.
Pass.
Medgar and Murley Evers' home.
Pass.
Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad. No time left to answer. You added to your score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 50 points. You're up to 100. Lutheran is still in the lead with 20. There's 5 left on the board that you could add to your score, George. If you got it, you only have 30 seconds left. So if you've been paying attention, you may be able to go through these quickly. Are you ready for your first one? You sound very excited. Those are enthusiastic head nods. Let's see if you've got these. You ready? First one is
Utah?
Castle Clinton, which is in Battery. Sorry. Sunset Crater in Sonoran Desert.
Utah?
Incorrect. Castle Clinton, which is in Battery Park.
Pass.
Medgar and Murley Evers' home.
Pass.
Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad.
Wisconsin?
Incorrect. Admiralty Island.
South Virginia?
Incorrect. Castle Clinton, which is in Battery
Arizona?
Park. Incorrect. Medgar and Murley Evers' home.
South Dakota?
Incorrect. Had to keep track of which was passed, which was passed, and which was incorrect. So all 5 of those stayed on the board. Here's the ones no one got. Sunset Crater in Sonoran Desert, not in Utah. And I appreciate you keeping me honest because you knew which was coming next, right? That's in Arizona. The Sunset Crater and the Sonoran Desert are in Arizona. Castle Clinton, which is in Battery Park. Battery Park's on the southern tip of Manhattan, technically where New York City began. That's in New York. Medgar and Murley Evers' homes in Mississippi. The Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad is in Maryland, and Admiralty Island is Alaska. We have a 20-point game moving into our final round, and in the final challenge, each question's worth 20 points. So basically, we have one question between our teams right now, and that final challenge is coming up in just a couple of minutes. What an exciting way to end our match. It's another close game going into our Mercy Health final challenge. Only 20 points separate Rockford Lutheran from Dakota. Lutheran went into our last round 10 points ahead. Now they're 20 points ahead, but in our final challenge, each question is worth 20 points. So it's basically a one-question swing right now. Mercy Health final challenge is a buzz-in, especially when the game is this close. Wait for me to call your name before you give an answer and say that answer loudly and clearly. hands on your buzzers. Good luck to our teams. And here is our first final challenge question. What name was shared by a king nicknamed Rufus and by the man who beat Harold Godwinson at the Battle of Hastings and was known as the Conqueror? George.
William.
That is correct. You've got the first points of this round. Those are your 20. After 1492, groups known as Moriscos and Moranos were created when minorities took what action in order to avoid expulsion? George.
Revolution.
Incorrect. I will continue for Dakota. Expulsion from Spain. They converted. Conversion is what we needed. They converted to Roman Catholicism. New question. What artist who sang "I'll await my armored fate with a smile" on Good Days and was featured on Doja Cat's Miss Me More released the 2017 album Control? Kaylee.
SZA.
That is correct. I won't even make you spell it. You get those 20 points regardless. What subgenre of plain song is a type of unaccompanied Christian liturgical chant named after a medieval pope? George.
Gregorian.
Yes, named after Pope Gregory. 20 more for you. That's 3 this round. In August 2021, what executive producer of Jeopardy was named as the show's new host, but soon stepped down due to past offensive comments? That was Mike Richards. New question. What character who decides to light out for the territory in a novel in which he travels with a slave named Jim? Ethan.
Huck Finn.
That is correct. Tom Sawyer's best friend. Those are Dakota's first points of this round. What Roman emperor, the third of the so-called 5 good emperors, was succeeded by Antoninus Pius and built a namesake defensive wall in Ethan?
Adrian.
That is correct. The defensive wall in Britain. 20 points for Dakota. What human sense is weakened in hyposmia, a condition common in Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's disease? And George.
Touch.
Incorrect. I'll finish for Dakota. And an early indicator of COVID-19. Ethan.
Smell.
That is correct. Smell. Dakota, you got those points. What pioneer of gonzo journalism also wrote the novel Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? That was counterculture icon Hunter S. Thompson. What god, whose Ba manifested as the bull Mnevis, was at various times merged with Herakti, Atum, and Amun in his role? Ethan.
Ra.
That is correct. As the Egyptian sun god, we are now tied. A horizontal wedge resembling a greater than sign is what kind of musical articulation mark? Kaylee.
Accent.
That is correct. Tells the player to place more emphasis on a note, and that is the last question of the round. It came down to that final question and those 20 points we went into the round with. Lutheran is moving on. You are going on with 200 points. You just broke the 200. Dakota, this is the worst part of the game for us because we have to say goodbye, and I can see it in your faces. Everybody wants to advance. You played a fantastic game. You should be very proud of yourself. Heads up. If I could go over there and raise your heads up, I would. Keep your heads up. For senior send-off time. How many of you are seniors? So Ethan and Allison, good luck in whatever you do, and you have a standing invitation to come visit us anytime. Clay and Cooper, we'll see you next season, right? That's an enthusiastic yes. George and the Crusaders, congrats. You are moving on to round 2. You will face Keith in your next match. Next week's match for you, if you're watching at home, is between Winnebago and Oregon. Hope you can join us for that.